Part I. The quiet ones who never beg to belong, asterisk. There are people in this world who don't seek to fit in. They walk differently, not arrogantly, not aimlessly, but purposefully. Even if they're not always sure where they're going, they sit silently in rooms full of noise. Not because they're shy, but because they're listening, really listening to something deeper than conversation. A rhythm that doesn't come from others but rises from within. These people don't chase acceptance. They don't conform for applause. They never beg to be seen. But because they don't try to belong, they're often left out. You've seen it, haven't you? The coworker who gets excluded from after-work drinks because they didn't fake a laugh at the manager's jokes. The friend who doesn't get invited anymore because they stopped playing the game of pleasing everyone. The sibling who chose peace over performance and now sits alone at family gatherings. This world, for all its talk of diversity and inclusion, still fears what it cannot label. And when someone doesn't show a hunger to belong, society gets uncomfortable. Because deep down, we live in a world that doesn't know what to do with someone who's already whole. Part 2. Why nonconformity feels threatening. The need to belong is primal. It's wired into us for survival, for safety, for connection. But when someone steps outside that instinct and they say, "I'd rather be alone than be fake," it challenges the entire system. Why? Because most people confuse connection with conformity. In our workplaces, relationships, even spiritual communities, there's an unspoken pressure. Think like us, talk like us, dress like us, believe like us. But when someone says, "No thanks, I have my own compass," it disrupts that silent contract. It triggers others because your independence reminds them of their own dependence. Your peace reminds them of their inner chaos. Your refusal to perform reminds them of how long they've worn a mask. You're not being punished for being wrong. You're being excluded for being free. That's the irony. And the wound. Because no one tells you that emotional independence comes with a cost. The loneliness of not being chosen by the crowd, asterisk. Part 3. The hidden grief of the self-reliant, asterisk. To be pushed to the edge doesn't always mean being physically alone. Often, it means being emotionally uninvited. You're still in the room, but not in the circle. You're part of the group, but not part of the gossip. You're valued for your results, but rarely for your presence. It's a grief most people don't talk about. Because how do you explain that you're lonely? Not for lack of people, but for lack of depth. How do you express the pain of being misunderstood simply because you refuse to play small? How do you admit you're hurting when your whole identity is built on not needing anyone? It's not easy. And yet there's a strange beauty in that grief, because the same edge that isolates you also sharpens you. You learn to trust your instincts. You discover peace in solitude, and you grow in ways that belonging never allowed. Asterisk Part 4. From rejection to redirection. Understanding the deeper why, asterisk. Here's the truth. Most of the people who push you away aren't malicious, they're scared. Your strength makes them question their own weakness. Your clarity makes them uncomfortable with their confusion. Your freedom reminds them of how trapped they feel in other people's expectations. And so, rather than confront that mirror, they turn away from you. They exclude you, not because you did something wrong, but because you exposed something real. But here's what you must remember. Rejection is not always a reflection of your worth. It's often a reflection of their fears. And sometimes, not being included is life's way of redirecting you toward people and spaces that don't require performance to offer belonging. Your people, the ones who get you, won't be repelled by your depth. They'll be drawn to it, but you'll never find them if you keep trying to fit into rooms that shrink you. Asterisk. Part 5. How to reclaim your center. Practical mindset shifts, asterisk. So what can you do when the world keeps pushing you to the edge? Here are powerful shifts that can help you stay whole in a world that asks you to fragment. 1. Stop apologizing for your depth. You're not too intense. You're just surrounded by people who prefer shallow waters. Stop shrinking your light to make others comfortable. Your presence, even when silent, is powerful. Own it. Point 2. Don't mistake exclusion for failure. You didn't fail the test of belonging. You simply refused to play a game that wasn't designed for your soul. Let go of the need to explain your worth. Let your energy speak. 3. Create microspaces where you can be fully UAG. Maybe the world isn't ready for all of you, but you can. Still create sacred spaces, even small ones where you breathe freely. A corner in your home, a journal you don't censor. One friend who sees you. Build from there. 4. Invest in solitude, not isolation. Solitude nourishes. Isolation drains. Use your alone time to connect deeper. Not numb yourself. Meditate. Walk in nature. Reflect. Dream. Heal. Let solitude become your source, not your sentence. 5. Remember, you're not alone in feeling. Alone there are thousands, millions who feel what you feel. The silent thinkers, the quiet rebels, the deep feelers. You may be on the edge, but you're not the only one. And sometimes, on the edge, you find the clearest view of what really matters. Part Vi. Why this world needs the ones who don't belong. Here's the truth. You might not hear often enough. The ones who don't belong change the world. They question norms. They break generational chains. They plant seeds of revolution in thought, in spirit, in culture. The Wright brothers didn't belong. Rosa Parks didn't belong. Van Gogh didn't belong. Neither did Buddha, or Christ, or Joan of Arc. You don't need to start a movement to matter, but don't ever underestimate the quiet shift you cause just by being fully you. The world doesn't need more people trying to belong. It needs more people bold enough to stand alone, till their presence builds something worth belonging to. Part 7. A quiet call to the soul. If you're reading this, maybe you've been feeling like you're on the outside. Maybe you've been wondering if something is wrong with you, because you don't seem to fit anywhere. Let this be your reminder. You don't have to fit into a world you were born to shape. You don't have to dilute your soul to drink from someone else's shallow cup. You don't have to beg for attention to prove you're worthy of love. Your essence is enough. Your solitude is sacred, and your path, though quiet, is powerful. So next time you're tempted to question yourself because you're being left out, and ask instead, am I really being excluded, or am I just walking ahead? Final words from the edge. You see, the truth, there is a quiet nobility in being someone who doesn't need to belong to feel whole. Yes, it's lonely. Yes, it's misunderstood, but it's also freeing. You are not meant to be contained. You are not here to perform. You are here to be to breathe deeply, to walk honestly, to love fiercely, without needing to be approved. So to the one who's always been on the edge, you are not the outsider. You are the frontier, and this world, though it may not say it out loud, needs the fire you carry. Stay lit. If this message spoke to you, if you've ever felt like you're too different, too deep, or too much for this world, you're not alone. Here at Awaken Mindset, we speak to the souls on the edge, the ones who see differently, feel deeply, and walk their own path. If that sounds like you, subscribe, share, and support the channel, because your story matters, and somewhere out there, someone needs your light just the way it is. You don't need to belong everywhere. You just need to belong to yourself.